All right, everybody, we'll get started with questions from Kent. Kent, go ahead.
Good evening, Coach. I wonder if you could just kind of give us an update on Natalie, like how she's feeling now, what her status is, and how she got hurt.
I'll start with the last part of it. She got hurt. I don't even know what day it is, but just a couple days ago in practice. And I've always said this. Since we've partnered with Mayo, these are the times that the partnership really comes in handy. We were able to go over there and get some images and whatnot, and got I thought relatively good news. And so I'd probably call her day to day. I know she wants to play tonight, but I have to have that conversation with Chuck and see how he's feeling about making her available.
If she's not available, would you consider juggling your starting lineup so that Damaris could come off the bench and back her up, or what would be your thinking in that regard?
No, just obviously the bench is a little bit shorter, as far as post play, but we've had players in practice have to play other positions, and so that'll be the case tonight.
Yeah, that or so much for those minutes restrictions on Sill, right?
Yeah, that's usually what happens. I still got to try to do a good job, but we'll see. Hopefully, she's just so dominant that I can't even take her out of the game.
Neil, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Was just watching the last Liberty game and just kind of noticed all the, it's such a pick and roll heavy team with the Neskew's passing and shooting ability. What are you focusing on as far as, guarding her in the pick and roll, and what did you see in your team's defense in your first game as far as pick and roll goes? And, is there anything to improve there? What are you thinking about as far as that goes?
Yeah, a ton of pick and rolls. If you guys remember, Walt Hopkins is the guard whisperer. He's the pick and roll guy. So not a surprise that you see that. Obviously with Sabrina, who's probably really may end up being one of the best ever in pick and roll. In terms of our pick and roll coverage, I thought our quarter court defense was pretty darn good. We probably exerted a lot of energy towards Taurasi and Diggins at times that gave up some easy ones. At the basket, I hope our rotation is better, is more complete. Those are things we've talked about. So the pick and roll coverage, from team to team, you get, like tonight, we'll see a bunch of drop coverage. The teams are choosing to kind of go more let throughs or unders. We're seeing different things. You see ice teams. You're used to all of that. I think that teams' initial 2-on-2 pick and roll coverage is usually pretty good. It's usually what you do out of that is the determining factor whether it's successful possession or not.
Mirabelle, go ahead. Mirabelle?
Oh, God, my daughter had gotten hold of my phone. It's Howard McDowell. Sorry about that.
What's up, Howard?
Cheryl, hi. I got
Mirabelle.
Yeah, exactly. I've got two very different legacy questions for you, if I could. The first one about Simone, and obviously with her retiring, there's been a lot of conversation about different aspects of her career. I'm wondering if you could just take me through what you remember about her willingness to go from being the number one option to one among, and the way in which that played a part in you guys being able to go on to win championships, having her buy in alongside Maya and Lindsay and ultimately Sil as well.
Yeah, and I think Lindsay alluded to that when she was tweeting about Simone being the most unselfish superstar she's ever played with. I remember, this was back in between 2010 and 2011. There were some teams in the league that tampered with Simone, knowing that we were going to land the number one pick. We were going to be taking Maya, and they thought maybe it would be the time for Simone to leave the franchise. And I remember Simone's reaction, because she called me and told me, who the team was, and just that, Coach, why in the hell would I leave now? This is what I needed. I'm gonna, be a winner now. And she wanted to lead the young rookie. Maya Moore, she wanted to handle. If you remember, 2011 was Simone's best defensive season. She didn't get credit for it. But she was really, really good. She wanted to lead, and Simone, Simone wasn't going to do this by herself. That's for darn sure. They all needed each other, and Simone was the one that recognized that the most, how much She needed Maya. She needed Lindsay. They all needed Rebecca. And then when Sil came along, they all needed each other. And there was no one that recognized that more than Simone. And
Thanks.
welcomed it.
And on a different legacy note, Mel Greenberg obviously getting recognized by the Hall of Fame, somebody who has covered you. I know at least since LaSalle as a player.
It was a long time ago, Mirabelle. Long time ago.
I wonder if you could take me through why Mel was important, what it meant to you, and to see somebody do what Mel did as frequently and for as long as he has.
Yeah, I mean, as passionately as he had. I mean, I played in the 80s, and I know he was covering before I got there. It was, you wanted Mel at your game. It was, I remember being in the Big Five, and, Mel couldn't be everywhere. And so, you know how media are, you can't win, if you go to this game and not that game. And I always remember you wanted Mel Greenberg at your game, because that really meant something. And then, obviously his commitment to doing the top 20 or top 25, whatever it is, in college basketball. And he was there all the time, and then when I got to the WNBA, he was there too, taking train rides. And I remember, when I was at GW, he would come down there and spend the weekend. And, he had people everywhere, that just understood his value and his commitment. And, we owe the growth of the game, to people like him that have been so committed. And back then for him, in the face of people not really, caring very much at all about what he was doing in terms of the bigger sports landscape. Obviously, those of us in the women's game appreciate the hell out of every step of the way. That's why he's been honored so many times, and just a really incredible situation to see him, where he is now, where the game is now. There's no question he's a big reason why.
Thanks, Cheryl. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We have time for one more question, so we'll go with Jackie. Jackie, go ahead.
Hey, Coach Reeve, it's Jackie Powell. I'm sorry if it's really noisy. It's just
I want to go where you're at.
I mean, there's some Lauren Hill, which I'm sure you enjoy. But anyway, what I wanted to ask you about is so you were very outspoken about how the Liberty were set up in Westchester all those, few years ago. So can you take us through, from your perspective, what type of transformation this has been for the organization? I mean, you're now using locker rooms that aren't like a shoebox. So if you could elaborate on sort of what that change has been like.
I mean, it's just really simple. The Liberty, thankfully, have an owner that actually cares. There was a time, perhaps, when the Liberty were successful, that maybe Nolan might have cared a little bit more. When they were one of the most successful franchises, their players were like movie stars. I don't know if Dolan paid attention to them at that time or not, but he got to a place where he really didn't care very much, and he didn't treat them very well. And so now, very, very simply, they're in a place where, an owner like Joe Tsai, who is incredibly committed, though it seems, and this is, how it should be done. So really happy for the Liberty. They had to persevere through quite a bit.
All right, everybody, that'll be it for Cheryl.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.